oh no, this is bad. And then Harmony says, this is bad. And
Please be a man. Yeah, 머릿속 하얘지려 해.
just like that, when Harmony says, this is bad, really, really bad. And then Grumpy says, another cat. And then Sheer says, calm down. I think the little one's trying to tell us something. And then Shigwa was trying to tell them something. And then Sheer says, I'll follow her. And then Shigwa says, what is it, little one? What is it? And then Sheer says, what is it? What? And then Sheer says, you guys, over here. And then Sheer says, what is it, Sheer? And then Harmony says, ah! Oh, right. And then Starlight says, wait, bears. I don't think Sangwa was attacking Wonder Hearts. I think she was just protecting her from the rat. And then Sheer says, yeah, her brother was attacking the rat, not attacking Wonder Hearts. Sheer asks, he was just protecting Wonder Hearts from the rat. He wasn't attacking Wonder Hearts. He was just protecting her from the rat. And then Sai says, rat. And just like that, when Sai says, right, we shouldn't know. Or from my April dream, Franklin says, Penny Lang, come inside. Then Franklin's dad says, Penny Lang. And then Penny Lang says, I gotta go, Delilah, but it was having fun chatting with you. And then Delilah says, yeah, it was fun. I'll see you another day. And then Penny Lang says, yeah. And then Penny Lang says, come in. And then Penny Lang says, what? Wait a second, what's that squeaky sound? Then Penny Lang says, wait, I guess that squeaking sound. And then, the rat shows up, and Penny Lang shouts at the rat, but the rat was climbing on top of an open window to Harriet's room, and the rat even hisses at Penny Lang. And then Penny Lang was so freaked out, she went, Harriet. And then Penny Lang rushes in the house, but it turned out she was tracking rainwater everywhere. And then Penny Lang says, oh great, now I'm tracking rainwater everywhere. And then Franklin's dad locks Penny Lang in the basement. Penny Lang says, I'm trapped. Then Penny Lang says, well, at least I shake the water off, but I need someone's help. And just like that, when Penny Lang says, I need someone's help who can save Harriet. Then Penny Lang says, let me think. I know, Delilah can help. Delilah trusted me. And then Penny Lang says, I had to shout for her. And then Penny Lang says, Delilah, Delilah, Delilah. Then Delilah says, Penny Lang. Then Penny Lang says, Delilah. And then Penny Lang says, Delilah, you came back. And then Delilah says, Penny Lang, are you okay? What's wrong? And then Penny Lang says, there's a rat in Harriet's room and I can't get out. And then Delilah says, don't worry, I'll take care of it. And then And then Penny Lane says, you will? But be careful, the cat catcher's in there. And then Delilah says, don't worry, I'll be careful. And then Penny Lane says, okay, hurry. And then Penny Lane says, she's in the house. And then Delilah enters the house, and she has to be careful not to get seen by Ellie the cat catcher. He was chatting with Franklin's parents, trying to find that stray cat he's been looking for. And then Delilah enters the dark room, looking for a rat. And the rat was under Harriet's crib. While Delilah is sniffing, she did not see the rat. And then Penny Lane says, what's going on up there? And then the cat catcher was saying, well, I've been looking for that cat I've been looking for. She tries to run away from me, but I grabbed that panda instead, and that panda was not a cat. She's a panda. Sometimes I capture stray cats. They're dirty and dangerous. And then, meanwhile, while Delilah was looking for a rat, Delilah sniffed, sniffed, and sniffed, sniffed. She saw Harriet, and then Delilah hears the rat squeaking, and then Delilah says, uh-oh. And then, ouch, the rat pounced on Delilah's face, scratching her right in the face. Delilah says, and then Delilah says, ow, get on me. It's the good thing she got the rat off her face. And then the rat and Delilah began to gauge a fight. And then Delilah began to chase the rat around the room, knocking over furniture and making a mess. Delilah says, and then Delilah says, aha, I got you. What? Huh? And then the rat jumps over her, right on her head. And then while Delilah's chasing the rat, she almost got herself stuck. And then Delilah hears the rat squeaking, and the rat was climbing on top of Harriet's crib. Before the rat was about to jump into the crib, Delilah says, no, stay away from her. And then Delilah was about to get the rat, but missed, accidentally knocking the crib over. Delilah says, no. Then Delilah says, ugh. And then Ellie the cat capture says, well. And then while Delilah's chasing the rat, knocking the crib over, Delilah says, ow, my face, my paw, ow. And then Harriet was frightened by the noise and waking her and caused her to cry. Delilah says, oh, you're okay. And then Delilah hisses at the rat. And then Franklin's mom says, wait, is that Harriet? And then Delilah manages to corner the rat under the falling curtains and kills it. And then Delilah's paw was a little scratched. Delilah says, hey. And then Franklin and his parents rushes in the room. They did not see the dead rat, just Delilah and the overturned crib. And turned out they thought Delilah was attacking Harriet until she gets taken to the pound. And then they let Penny Lane free. And then Penny Lane was trying to tell them something. So Penny Lane wants them to follow her. And then Penny Lane shows them the dead rat. And then they thought Delilah was attacking Harriet, but they were just protecting her from the rat. Penny Lane says, yes, I was locked in the basement, and then I shouted for Delilah, and then she hears me, and then I tell her that there's a rat in the house, and then Delilah says she'll get that rat for me. That was nice. And then Penny Lane says, but then I told her to make it quick. And then Penny Lane says, and she enters the dark room looking for a rat, and then her face got scratched right in the face, and she chases the rat, and then she thought she caught the rat, but she missed. And then Penny Lane says, while she's chasing the rat was climbing on top of Harriet's crib, and then Delilah was about to